Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Nitai Gaur Premanande. So anybody who knows anything in Kali Yuga knows that Lord Chaitanya is the best, because he comes to this very dark world, as mentioned in the very beginning of the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. Vande Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityanandao Sahodito Godudai Pushpamanto Chitro Shando Tamodudao. That is just like the sun and the moon rising at the same time illuminates the whole universe. So similarly, Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda have arisen simultaneously on the horizon of Gauda Desh. And the sun and the moon illuminate ordinary items like pots and plates. But Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Nityananda illuminate the innermost chambers of the heart, where the soul is, and give the direction through which one, from any position in life, can go back home, back to Godhead. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is known through his devotees. In Jagannath Puri, those of you who have been there know that everywhere you go, you'll find the memories of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because he lived there for so many years. And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, who was first one to actually greet the Lord when he came to Jagannath Puri, found him in the Jagannath temple. And there in the Jagannath temple, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who had recently taken sannyas, came, and upon seeing Lord Jagannath, came to embrace him and then fainted in ecstasy and was in a state of suspended animation there in the Jagannath temple. And when the custodian of the temple commander, saw this, he thought it was some kind of cheap imitation. So he and his assistants brought their sticks, and they were about to start beating the Lord, his transcendental body. But Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya just happened to be there, and he came over and stopped the temple commander from doing that. And he observed the beautiful transcendental body of the Lord, this young sannyasi, 24 years old. And he could see that from his knowledge of the Shastra, that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was in a very deep state of ecstasy. So he had his disciples, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya did, come and pick up the beautiful body of the Lord and carry it back to his residence. He was still in this very deep trance and love of Krishna. Chaitanya Bhagavat describes how there were so many disciples of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya there that hand to hand they would pass the transcendental body of the Lord down the line. And like a long line of ants. Sometimes you see them passing little pieces of food down the chain, down their hole, and so forth. So there were so many hands touching the beautiful body of the Lord, brought him to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's home. And after some time, the associates of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came looking for him, because he had gone ahead of the others, being a little annoyed after he had taken sannyas at the place now that is called Dandabanga Nadi. There's a beautiful river there, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would stop there for some time. And when he asked Nityananda Prabhu to hold his danda, and then he had come back, he found that the danda was gone. And he asked Nityananda Prabhu what happened to it, and he said, oh, it was broken, and I threw it in the river. And he said, how did that happen? He said, oh, you were in ecstasy, you fell on it and it broke. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, of course, this was a very esoteric pastime, because this varnashram is not suited for the Lord. It's simply a designation he took in order to spread his Sankirtan movement. But Lord Nityananda and others knew perfectly well that he had nothing to do with any connection to the varnashram. In any case, Mahaprabhu expressed anger externally. And he said, I've taken sannyasa, and now you've broken my only one possession in the world, my danda. He said, you all can go ahead of me or behind me, but you can't come with me. I'll go. So they said, you go ahead. So they could go behind him. So they had come later to Jagannath Puri, and there they asked around, and they found that this beautiful sannyasi had come, and he was now at the house of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. So they went there, and soon with the loud chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra? Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama. Mahaprabhu came back to his external consciousness. And this was the beginning of his stay in Jagannath Puri. Except for a detour to South India for 4 years, he spent the balance of his time in Jagannath Puri. So all over Puri you'll find evidence of the stay of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu there, where he had performed many of his beautiful pastimes. So we're going to sing a song now that is extremely auspicious because it is the 100 names of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and reminds one of the pastimes that he performed in various places all over the world. But I have a warning before we sing this song, and that is it's highly addictive. And when you hear this song, it'll get into your head and then you won't be able to stop. And if you have to go to work on Monday, you may walk into the office singing this song. You may even stand up on your desk in your cubicle or wherever it is and start singing it also and get others to sing it. So if you don't want that to happen, you can step outside and someone will come get you when we're done. This song is written by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and each one of these stanzas describe the various pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And it goes like this. Nadiya nagare nitai neche neche gare. Nadiya nagare nitai neche neche gare. Jagannath Sutta Mahaprabhu Vishwambar Mayapura Shashi Navadipa Sudakar Shachi Sutta Gaura Hari Nimai Sundar Radha Bhava Kanti Achatita Natabar Namananda Chapala Balaka Matri Bhakta Brahmananda Varna Tarki Kautukanurak Nadiya nagare nitai neche neche gaire. Nadiya nagare nitai neche neche gaire. Vidyarte udupa chaur dwarer mohana. Tartika sarvasya gramya balika kridana. Lakshmi pratibodha datta udata balaka. Shisha chirapati putra shokani baraka. Hati go. Yeah. Nadiya nagare nitai neche neche gaire. Nadiya nagare nitai neche neche gaire. Arya dharma pala pitra gaya pinda data. Puri shishya madvacharya sampradaya pata. Krishna Namo Mat Paka Nam Sankirtan Yuga Dharma Pravarta Advaita Bandhava Srinivas Grihadana Nityananda Prana Gadadhara Jivan Narayana Gare Nitai Neche Neche Gaire Narayana Gare Nitai Neche Neche Gaire Antardeep Shashadar Simanta Vijay Godruma Bihari Madhya Dwipa Lila Shraya Kola Dwipa Pati Ritu Dwipa Maheshwar Janu Moja Druma Rudra Tripera Ishwar Kavakanda Ranganath Jana Vijivana Jagai Madai Adi Turvita Charan Nadiya nagare nitai neche neche gaire. Nadiya nagare nitai neche neche gaire. Simha kaji udarana Shuddha nama pracharaka bhaktarti harana Narayani kripa sindhu jiverani anta Adama Paduya Dandi Bhakta Doshahanta Shri Krishna Chaitanya Chandra Bharati Tarana Parivraj Shri Ramoni Ukalapavan Narya Nagare Nitai Neche Neche Gaire Narya Nagare Nitai Neche Neche Gaire Ambulinga Bhuvanesha Kopatesha Pati Kirchor Gopardashana Sukiyati Nirdandi Sanyasi Sarvabhoma Kripa Moy Swananda Aswanandi Sarva Sukha Shroya Purata Sundara Vasudeva Tranakarta Namananda Sakabha Nagare Nitai Neche Neche Gaire Narya Nagare Nitai Neche Neche Bodha Jain Mayavadi Kutaka Kandan Dakshina Pavana Bhakti Granta Udarana Alala Darshanandi Rata Granartaka Gajapati Trana Devananda Udaraka Kuliya Prakashe Tushta Paduryarchana Rupa Sanatana Bandhu Sarva Jiva Pra Narya Nagare Nitai Neche Neche Gaire Narya Nagare Nitai Neche Neche Gaire Narya Nagare Nitai Neche Neche Gaire Jaya Gaura Nitai, Gaura Nitai, Gaura Nitai, Jaya Gaura Nitai. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Go Premanande. So this is refrain, Nadia Nagari Nitai Neche Neche Gaire, is about Lord Nityananda. And he's going through the streets of Nadia, and he's singing all these songs about the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And so this is the great joy of life, and that is to hear from pure devotees about the Supreme Personality of Godhead. First of all, that there is a Supreme Personality of Godhead, because this is a big revelation to everybody in the material world, because here he's hidden and nobody can see him here, because there's so many other signs up everywhere and there's so many other things going on that everyone's doing that they never hear about the pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and they start to think that actually he doesn't even exist, that there is no such thing as God. What to speak, if there is a God, to think that God has beautiful eyes and an attractive smile and that one can interact with him. And so when somebody hears that information, it stimulates within the heart this feeling, a forgotten feeling that one has, that, oh, I'm actually meant to think about and love and serve this personality. And this is naturally within the heart of every living entity. You can see it in this world that people tend to serve a master naturally. Everyone would really appreciate it. For instance, in America, I always notice during political campaigns, people are really hoping that the next person who's elected will really have deep moral principles and will be a shining example for the world and someone that we can be proud of and serve and so forth. This is a natural impetus. And anywhere you go, if there's a king or a queen, for instance, in the UK, I was just there recently, and every day there's news about the king and queen, even though they really don't do anything. They're basically figureheads. I mean, no offense or anything if you're watching. You do something. You mean a lot to people, but that's my point, that there's a way in which every living entity wants that relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but keeps missing it everywhere, in all kinds of relationships that seem like they could or should work out, but they never do. So Lord Nityananda is dancing down the street in Nadia and singing these songs and just outright telling people about the pastimes of God, of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And when people hear it, then their ears open up and their hearts open up. And this is the Sankirtan movement of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He started a process of broadcasting the names of God. The name is really important. Those of you who have gone to lengths to protect your identities because of identity theft know that if somebody gets a hold of your name somehow, you start getting phone calls and then emails and packages show up. And also someone can look deeply into your life just because they have your name. So in a similar way, in the theology of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he taught, if you get the name of God, then you can actually enter deeply within the life of God. Does that make sense? The correlation? Do you buy that? Say yes. Just to make me feel good, I'll get a little momentum. So this is Lord Nityananda and Lord Chaitanya rising like the sun and the moon, and then they went everywhere and they broadcast this holy name, and these are all holy names of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So there's so many lessons. I mean, one can actually live a life of complete satisfaction by looking into these names, listening to them, repeating them. In some cultures, there's a hesitancy to actually say the name of God because there's a concept that one might profane the name if you actually even say it. And this is actually true in our tradition also to a certain degree because we observe these 10 offenses, being careful not to take the process for granted. And so one can go on, one can live a completely full life, actually more than full, overflowing life by repeating the names, finding out what they are, and then repeating them. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came with this specific mission to teach people how to fill up their lives by getting the names of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and then making them their own. One can make this one's own, the names of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recommended this. He said that the names of God have all of his personal potencies. It's very personal, actually. Nija Sarva Shaktis means that there's a way that the Lord personally connects to us when we chant his holy name. In fact, we've read many times in the 11th canto a verse that says that if someone even accidentally says the name of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then Krishna becomes attracted to them. He said, what to speak of those who become, who get more information about the process and understand that there's a great substance here, and then lean into it and really start to chant with sincerity. So the verse says, what to speak of those people, how much the Supreme Personality of God will be attracted. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna, and he comes in this Kali Yuga. Now, the Lord's always coming to this material world because he has great compassion for the souls who have lost their way here. And he extends himself. So in every Kali Yuga, there's an appearance for the Yuga Dharma, to spread the Yuga Dharma. But normally, that manifestation of the Lord is a jiva who's empowered to do that. But in our particular Kali Yuga, because of a confluence of circumstances, Krishna himself, who had appeared, has appeared very recently, just 5,000 years ago in geological time, that's just a click away. And after he had appeared, he felt that people really weren't able to imbibe his teachings. Do you all have an affair? No? Do you like air? I got nothing against air. It's really good. It's good for the brain and the lungs. I think we feel much better if we get more air in here, right? Let's experiment and see what happens. Now, just as a test of it, as a before and after, what was I just saying? See, proof there wasn't enough air in here. What? Yeah, so Krishna came 5,000 years ago, and then for his own reasons, he decided to come back in this particular Kali Yuga that we're in. And he had internal reasons and external reasons. The external reason was it's the time to spread the Yuga Dharma. And the internal reasons had to do with the fact that he wanted to teach people about the kind of devotional service that goes on in Goloka Vrindavan, a spontaneous devotional service. And he also was so amazed with the devotional service of the devotees in Vrindavan that he wanted to taste it for himself, because he's the object of love of all the devotees in Vrindavan who love him so spontaneously and so deeply that it's astonishing to him. And he wants to taste his own sweetness. So for external reasons and for internal reasons, he then comes back in the Kali Yuga with the reasoning, Anarpita charim chirat karuna yavatirna kalau samarapayutum unuto jwala rasam subhakti shriyam. That is, for a long time, people haven't received the greatest gift, which is understanding the highest relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They know somewhat about relationships with God in reverence, in Vaikuntha. But even the mother of Parikshit Maharaj, Uttara, intuited that there are these kinds of devotees in the world whose love surpasses that of the official love of the devotees in Vaikuntha. A very reverent kind of love, ceremonious love, I should say, not official, ceremonious. And she reasoned that because there are those kinds of devotees, there must be a special place for them. And Parikshit Maharaj was very excited to tell his mother about that place, which is the topmost place in the spiritual world, where Krishna performs pastimes of unceremonious love with his devotees. Unceremonious means it's completely spontaneous. They're drawn by heartfelt love for the Lord. They can't stop thinking about him. So Krishna wanted to give that kind of relationship and knowledge of that relationship to everybody. So we're in the perfect place at the perfect time. Why is it the perfect place? Because the Earth planet is right in the middle of the planetary system. And there are planets above us, which are what? You're naming them all. That's pretty good. What are they like up there? What's heaven like? Mo better? It's Mo better. Huh? Longer duration of life. Thank you for being definitive. Higher sense satisfaction. If that's even possible after you've been to Los Angeles. I mean, this place is the best. Yeah, and according to our scriptures, there's a way in which, in such a heavenly environment, even better than Los Angeles. I mean, even in Los Angeles, people forget themselves and they think, we're in heaven. After all, there's palm trees and stuff like that. So heavenly planets are even much nicer. So people forget themselves. And what about below? Oh, wait, do we have microphones that go around? Our guests at home might want to hear it. Go ahead, sir.
Like darker planets which have lower senses, like lower modes of, like the three modes, like they're the modes of tamas and rajas.
Okay. The idea is that they're darker and so forth, and could be accompanied by suffering. So the Earth planet is especially meant for performing a sacrifice. And the human existence, the human body, according to the Shastra, there's 8,400,000 species of life, correct? And out of them, the humans are rare. There's 400,000 species of humans. And we were reading recently in the 11th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, where Krishna's talking to Uddhava, and he says, out of all the different species, lower, higher, animals, and so forth, he likes the humans. Because human beings have full capacity and are meant for waking up their original love for God. So you should all smile because Krishna likes you, just because you're human. And then if you're human and you're on the Earth planet, which Bhakti True Maharaj was speaking about in very helpful ways when we were in New Vrindavan recently, and he was comparing the universe to a large building. He said you have your upper floors, your lower floors, and then the ground floor. And where do you get out of the building from? Ground floor. So we're on the ground floor. And very specifically, according to Briyat Bhagavatamrita and other scriptures, the Vrajdam, the Gokula Dham, is the place, of course, that Gopal Kumar went to after going everywhere else, higher, lower, middle, through the different coverings of the universe. He ended up going to Vraj and performing Sankirtan, and from there he was transported back to Goloka, Vrindavan, which, by the way, looked very much like, well, exactly like Vraj. Couldn't tell the difference between the two. So I'm just trying to cheer you up. Not that you need much cheering up, you're at a festival, but you're human, and you're also on the ground floor, and also you've arrived at a time when Krishna has appeared in his most magnificent and munificent form, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He's magnanimous. Namo Mahavaranyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaur Tvishe Namaha. When Rupa Goswami met Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he composed this verse. And he realized, because he was actually, he's a liberated soul from the spiritual world, but he was playing the part of an administrator. and a very wealthy, highly educated person. And he recognized the great opportunity that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was making available to people all over the world, and that was that he was giving away what is considered to be the most precious and most unavailable of all things, Krishna Prema, a special kind of Krishna Prema, which is the Vraj Prema. So if one is a human, takes birth in the Kali Yuga, and comes in contact with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, such a person is considered to be the most fortunate. You can turn it this way, the fan, it's more important that all of you get the benefit of the fan. All right, I'll do it. Don't make me come down there. See, I don't mind being warm, but if you're warm, then I feel uncomfortable because, yeah, leave it there. All right, turn it up. See how they feel. Turn it up. No, the speed, turn it up. How do you feel now? Good, right? Okay. So, I have a little gift for you all. Does that make you even happier than you? I mean, how can you be happier than you already are? Look, I brought gifts. Little gifts for everybody. It's a little book. Here, you can pass these out. If there's any extras, bring them back. Okay, so you'll see a picture of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu on the cover of your new book. And, or more precisely, it's a booklet. It's because it's got 1, 2, 3, 4 pages. Do you see the picture? Say yes. Thank you. I have one. Who's the picture of? Okay, use the mic. It's Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but it's a very special form. Manjula Kant is the spokesperson for the day.
It's Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
What else?
In a very special form. He's
what special form?
He's Ram Shadbhuj form. He's showing his form as Rama and Krishna and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu all at once.
That's right. So this is the Chaturbhuj form. So having seen that form, it's a very auspicious form. You see that form in Jagannath Puri at Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's house. He revealed that to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. And so this form of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is called Chaturbhuja. There's a couple of verses about this, well, there's one specific verse about this form in the Srimad Bhagavatam. See, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is mentioned in the Bhagavatam, which is the most important of all the scriptures. And although we don't have time to go into it now, if you read the Tattva Sandarbha by Jiva Goswami, which was commentated by the great Gopi Paranadhana Prabhu, then you can understand how important the Srimad Bhagavatam is. It brings from the language of the Bhagavatam itself the fruit of all the Vedic literatures. So the Bhagavatam explains Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as Deyam Sada Paribhavagnam Apishtadoham. So he's fit to be meditated upon. Everyone in Los Angeles right now is looking for somewhere to place his or her attention in order to find some satisfaction. Does that sound like a reasonable conclusion, proposition? I mean, after all, and this is a bit of a philosophy from the Vedanta Sutra, Anandamayo Bhyasat. This means that a living entity is a pleasure seeker, always looking for happiness. It's our nature to be joyful and to find a joyful situation. So we're part and parcel of Krishna, who's Sat, Chit, and Ananda. eternal, full of knowledge and bliss. So we're part of that, a small part of Krishna. So it's natural to look everywhere and try to find an object for satisfaction. But to no avail in the material world. In fact, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that Jayato Vishayan Pumsam Sangasteshu Bhajayate. When you look around the material world and you don't understand its connection to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, everything you see becomes, and see and desire becomes a problem for you, because he says that by contemplating it, looking at it, then you form a sangha, or a connection to it, because you think, I want that. And there's no satisfaction. Ultimately, it leads in the complete opposite. You don't get any satisfaction. But the Bhagavatam says, Deyam Sada. Deyam, everyone say? Deyam. Means to meditate. And Sada means always. So Deyam Sada. Say that. It means that Lord Chaitanya's lotus feet are fit to be meditated upon. Now, there's a lot of other things that we can mention in Los Angeles that don't meet that criterion, because they're not fit to be meditated. You can meditate on them, but they're not fit to be meditated upon. But the Bhagavatam is suggesting that if you give your full attention, and how often should you give it? Always. So this is somewhere where you can actually place your full attention. And always, Deyam Sada, Paribhavagnam, which means if you do this, then you will overcome all of the disappointments in your life. Any disappointments? Yes. Thank you. That makes me feel much better. Paribhavagnam means that those disappointments and embarrassments, any embarrassments? Yes. Become crushed. How? By meditating on Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Deyam Sada. So we found it. What everybody in Los Angeles is driving around and clicking around, they click around or tapping around. I mean, there's a lot of stuff to look at nowadays. Too many things, right? You could like get on this thing where you're going like this. Do you know what this means? Video games, what else? Well, it's not really texting. This would be a weird text. Changing screens. Thank you, from the younger generation. You know what that means. It means the screen's going by and by and by, and you're seeing all these images, and none of them satisfy the self at all. There's no satisfaction. But Deyam Sada Paribhavagnam. If you place your attention, it's giving you full permission to divert your attention from everything else and place it firmly on Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then you will feel satisfaction, and you'll also overcome all the embarrassments of life and all the disappointments. Then he says, Abhishtadoham. And not only that, it will fulfill your innermost desire in life. That thing that you're actually looking for will be completely satisfied by meditating on the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Deyam Sada Paribhavagnam Abhishtadoham Tirtasparam Shiva Vrinchinutam Sharanyam. And he says that the Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's lotus feet are a place of pilgrimage. And in the commentaries to this verse in the 11th canto, the great scholar devotees who compiled this have quoted from our acharyas saying that people may not be able to make it to some of these holy places around the world. I mean, some people can't even afford a ticket on Turkish airline, which we highly don't recommend. Stop in Istanbul. And then they can't take the time off. They don't have the wherewithal to even think about going to a holy place. However, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, don't mind. If you take shelter of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you get the result of going to all the holy places. Tirtasparam Shiva Vrinchi Nutam Sharanyam. And he goes on to say that Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva take shelter there. Why wouldn't you? And then he says that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's lotus feet are like a boat. and they can carry you across the material ocean very easily. So it's important to every day come back to that point of attention that will actually give us satisfaction. That's why we do sadhana every day. And in fact, one has to not only chant Hare Krishna and worship Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but one also has to hear about him and about the importance of the holy name every day. That is called Sambandha Jnana. It's knowledge of a relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And why is that? That one has to not only chant Hare Krishna, but also hear about the Supreme Personality of Godhead and our relationship with him every day. And not just from the front row. Okay, Sutra Malika. Get him a mic. I'm afraid there's only one in the audience here. It's a really quiet mic, so you got to put it right next on your chin. It's got to be touching. Go.
I will try, Maharaj. So only if you hear of the connection between the name and the.
Can you turn it up?
Only if you hear between the connection between the name and the holy name and the reality. So then your sadhana becomes stronger.
Yeah, but why do you have to do it every day?
Well,
that's what I was asking.
Unless you do it every day, it weakens. So basically,
okay. What happens when it weakens? Yes, and why does it weaken anyway? Go ahead, right next to you. Radha Kripa.
We get entangled in the Maya.
Entangled Maya, okay. Yes, the pundit in the front row.
I was going to say it opens the door to let Maya in.
Opens the door to what?
To let Maya in.
To let Maya in. Well, we forget. It's easy to forget. So once you forget, then your life, once you forget Krishna, Prabhupada writes, your life becomes unproductive. So that's why every day we have to do sadhana, because the material energy is so strong that as soon as I divert my attention a little bit, or I stop doing my sadhana a little bit, or it weakens, then it's easy to forget because Maya is so strong. Is that true? Yes. Actually, Prabhupada said it wasn't true. He said, when someone said, but Prabhupada, Maya is so strong, he said, Maya's not so strong, you're so weak. He said, if you keep yourself fit, he said, your intention is weak. He said, if you keep yourself physically fit, you're careful about your diet, exercise, and so forth, and avoid contaminating situations, then you won't fall ill. And he said, in a similar way, when you keep yourself spiritually fit, then you won't fall victim to Maya. Project going on. So we've established that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is fit to be meditated upon always. And so listen to this statement at the top of your book. Rameshwar Prabhu, did you get my new book? Just produced, thank you. It says at the top, Lord Chaitanya, the universal guru. We came across this in the Madhya Lila when we were reading one day, and it's so helpful to have a universal guru. So Prabhupada writes, if a devotee accepts Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as the universal guru and Lord Jagannath as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, he is benefited by the combined mercy of Krishna and Guru. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but he comes in his Acharya Lila. That means he's Krishna coming as a devotee to teach us how to advance in devotional service. And then, here's Lord Chaitanya's universal order. And here's the reason this is important. The order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is a manifestation of his internal potency. And it is by that particular potency that one comes to see the Lord face to face. Now, if you can verify that the order came from the supreme authority, the universal guru, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then, if you could verify that, and you got an order from the Universal Guru, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, what would you do about it? Let's hear from an individual. I'd like to hear from one individual who represents the rest of you, and if she says anything wrong, you can really get on her case. Go ahead.
Follow the Guru.
You would follow the order?
The order.
If you could verify it,
Yes.
and say, yeah, this came from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that you would follow it. Anybody disagree with that?
I very much disagree with it in the sense that we have it right here and I'm still not doing it. So,
And it's still what?
and I'm still not doing it. So
Okay, let's rephrase it then. You say, if you verified that it was coming from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and you heard the order, and you got the order, and let's say you believe that there is a Supreme Personality of Godhead, and you verified that this order came from him, then even if you couldn't follow it, would you have a sense that it would be a good idea to follow it?
yes.
That's all you need. In fact, if someone would give me a Bhagavad Gita within 7 seconds or less, and turn to 331 in the Bhagavad Gita. Here's why I'm bringing this up for you. Because she made this point that you may see the order, but then not be able to follow it, right? It's possible? Let me give you a complete alleviation of anxiety about that point. You'd like to follow it, right? Yes? Yes. Okay. But it's hard, right? Everyone just say yes. Yes. Okay, listen to this. Now, one important point is nobody, no soul anywhere is permanently unqualified. Because the scriptures are speaking to us and they're saying, rise to the highest position. And therefore, Vedanta Sutra says, because the scripture is speaking to us, it would be illogical for the scripture to say you can come to the highest position. Keep that in mind. And I'm going to read you this from 331, Prabhupada's purport to Ye me matam idam nityam. Krishna says, those persons who execute their duties according to my injunctions and who follow this teaching faithfully, without envy, become free from the bondage of fruitive actions. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. The injunction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is the essence of all Vedic wisdom and therefore is eternally true without exception. As the Vedas are eternal, so this truth of Krishna consciousness is also eternal. One should have firm faith in this injunction without envying the Lord. There are many philosophers who write comments on the Bhagavad Gita but have no faith in Krishna. They will never be liberated from the bondage of fruit of action. But an ordinary man with firm faith in the eternal injunctions of the Lord, even though unable to execute such orders, becomes liberated from the bondage of the law of karma. In the beginning of Krishna consciousness, one may not fully discharge the injunctions of the Lord, but because one is not resentful of this principle and works sincerely without consideration of defeat and hopelessness, he will surely be promoted to the stage of pure Krishna consciousness. I rest my case. What do you think? Did you like it? On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 means it's the best thing you ever heard, and 1 means meh. Tell us. We want to know.
Well, I'll just be raw.
No,
I
a
like
number.
it.
A number on a scale of 1 to 10.
I like it on 10. It's 10.
10.
For
Give
sure.
her a hand. 10. 10 is a 10. All right. So here's his order. Lord Chaitanya's universal order. And this is nice because you could just take it. And this is what's called an open order. He gives it for everyone for all time. And so then you have a choice. You can take it or not take it. Take it or? Yeah. It's just like if somebody brings you a huge bag of money and says, here is $1 billion. And it's free. You can have it. Free gift. And so your choice is you can take it or? Correct. Here's Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's universal order. Jari dako tare koha Krishna upadesh amara gnai guru haya tar edesh. Instruct everyone to follow the orders of Lord Sri Krishna as they are given in the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. In this way, become a spiritual master and try to liberate everyone in this land. That's an open order, and everyone in the whole universe is welcome to take it. And those who do, and I'll repeat the quotation from Srila Prabhupada, the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is a manifestation of his internal potency. And it is by that potency that one comes to see the Lord face to face. So from any situation in life, from whatever position one is starting from now, if one simply takes this order, and even if you can't do it, Prabhupada mentions that when you get an order from Krishna, either directly, an open order, or from your spiritual master, and you can't do it, he says, then you can say, how can I do, how can I do, how can I do? Everyone please say that. How can I do, how can I do, how can I do? And you can even do that as an intention as you're chanting Hare Krishna. For instance, say you're chanting japa. And as you're chanting japa, you may think, I'm so fallen, I can't do anything. Is that possible? Think like that? I'm practically useless. So as you're chanting from your heart, you might say, how can I do? How can I do? How can I do? And if you do that, then Krishna will give you all empowerment, even if you don't have any right now. So now, here's Lord Chaitanya's plan. You've heard his order, and now you want to hear his plan, right? Say yes. Yes. Seeing that the Mayavadis and others were fleeing, Lord Chaitanya thought, I wanted everyone to be immersed in this inundation of love of Godhead. But some of them have escaped. Therefore, I shall devise a trick to drown them also. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared in order to deliver all the fallen souls. Therefore, he devised many methods to liberate them from the clutches of Maya. Then, on the next page, you have Srila Prabhupada on Lord Chaitanya's plan. Here's Prabhupada's comment on Lord Chaitanya's plan. Could you pass the microphone to His Grace Rameshwar Prabhu in the back? He's got the white shirt with ISKCON on it. Could you read Prabhupada's plan?
Srila Prabhupada on Lord Chaitanya's plan. Quote, I like this idea of distributing books and preaching. That is Lord Chaitanya's plan. And because you are doing it so nicely, you are already making the greatest contribution. So what need there is for some special instruction from me?
Thank you very
End
much.
quote.
Hare Krishna. I'd like to hear some reactions to that, what we just read. So,
I have one reaction
please.
to that. Mataji, who thought that sometimes it's hard to follow an order. And we all sometimes feel that way. So what I wanted to say to you is that what makes it a lot easier, there are some things that make it a lot easier. One is when you're getting the order from someone you love. That makes it easier. So for example, if this order, which came from Lord Chaitanya and Srila Prabhupada, is being given to you by someone you love, such as, I'll just use this as examples, Sri Vaisesika Prabhu. If you have that love and you're getting that order, that love is what makes it a lot easier to carry out the order. And the other thing I wanted to suggest is that even then, if it's still hard, if you can find just a few others, friends, associates, god sisters, god brothers, who are also struggling but trying to carry out the order, and if you do it together, there's such power in that association of devotees that it just sweeps you up in it. And it makes it a little easier to do it if you're not just doing it all alone. So those were my two thoughts to help make it easier to carry out this order of Lord Chaitanya.
Hare Krishna. Three more reflections. Anything that you heard so far, especially about the order and the plan, that's stuck in your mind or that you found interesting? Dear Raj, right up here, raise your hand.
So book distribution and preaching is direct order of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
He equates it to that.
Yes.
It's an extremely convenient way to make Lord Chaitanya's teachings available to people all over the world. Books are loved in human society. They have been since a time immemorial. People have been writing on things and trying to distribute their knowledge, even when they had to do it by hand. And books are still loved in human society because humans have the chit potency. Living entities have a chit potency. When they come to the human body, they have this hunger for knowledge. So they take in all kinds of knowledge. People subscribe to the New York Times. They subscribe to the New Yorker. They subscribe to all kinds of series of books that they can read because they desire knowledge. So when they come in contact with knowledge in this medium, they can readily assimilate it. They can take it in. Thank you. Yes.
So there were 2-3 things which I got reminded when I heard your message about following the order of a guru, and it's coming through the guru is like the internal potency representing is a connection to the Supreme Lord. I got reminded of 2 things which are like parallels to that same. One is the pastime of Lord Chaitanya and Lord Jagannath, the relationship. I read this in this book, The Mercy, or about the significance of Rath Yatra, how Lord Chaitanya is Krishna with the heart of Radharani, and Lord Jagannath is Krishna with the heart of Krishna. So it's bringing, the connection between Radha and Krishna, bringing them together is the pastime of Lord Chaitanya with Lord Jagannath. And the other connection I got reminded is the holy name, chanting is bringing Hara, Radharani together with Krishna. So when someone chants with sincere love, they are bringing the internal potency together with Krishna. So distribution of books and following the order, when we do it, it is not different from chanting in that sense, because you're bringing Krishna's internal potency back to Krishna.
That's a very interesting statement, because our fearless leader and highly esteemed devotee Rameshwar Prabhu was making similar kinds of points back in the 1970s. And some of the devotees wondered if that wasn't a little bit over the top. So they wrote to Prabhupada and said this idea of Sankirtan being in the mood of Vrindavan and the gopis who were bringing people closer to Krishna and so forth, is explaining in esoteric ways, is this accurate? And Prabhupada wrote back and said, yes, this is the mood of Sankirtan. It is Lord Chaitanya's pastime, and it is the same spontaneous mood of Vrindavan. Thank you for bringing those points out in such a nice way. Rameshwar Prabhu, please give more precision in that.
Hare Krishna. I just wanted to share with you it's not really a secret, but you may think of it as a secret about the Lord's internal potency that is within the order that he is giving. This is an amazing quality of this internal potency of the Lord, and that is, in the order comes, simultaneously with getting the order, the ability to carry it out. So sometimes you get an order from Lord Chaitanya, you may think, but I'm not qualified to do this. I can't sell books. I can't distribute books. I don't have the ability. And it's stated in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, and it's repeated in some letters from Srila Prabhupada, that just keep trying, because in the order comes the ability. And the more you just keep trying, even if you think you have no ability, one day you're going to have amazing ability to do this. I promise you this, because the internal potency of Krishna is unlimited. It's ever increasing, ever expanding. It's full of so much energy that Krishna himself can't even calculate how much pleasurable energy is in my internal potency. He appears in the world just to experience it himself. I mean, this is unlimited energy, and it's in the order, the internal potency. It gives you the energy to carry it out. And based on that, Srila Prabhupada once told us, therefore, nothing is impossible. Now, if you think something's impossible, well, that's a word for a fool, not for anyone with intelligence. Nothing is impossible for God. Nothing. So the ability to carry out the order comes with the order. That's what I wanted to share.
Haribo. Now, I want to bring out a couple more lessons from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's leelas and pastimes. One of them is a directive and clear teaching given by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, when he said, don't try to see God, but try to work or serve in such a way that the Lord will want to see you. Do you find that helpful? Yes. I know I do, because oftentimes one may think about how to do certain things in the world that may seem very difficult. But if I simply think about how to conduct myself and live in such a way that it would be attractive and pleasing to Krishna, then I have a sort of presence of mind. For instance, in the 12th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna talks about the various qualities in devotees that he appreciates very much. Does anybody know the section I'm talking about? Everybody who's taken Bhakti Shastri say, yes, I know. I know where it is. Okay, I'll just read you one verse to give you an idea of it. And this gives you clear evidence that Krishna does appreciate certain kinds of qualities in his devotees. This is Bhagavad Gita 12:13. One who is not envious, but is a kind friend to all living entities, who does not think himself a proprietor and is free from false ego, who is equal in both happiness and distress, who is tolerant, always satisfied, self-controlled, and engaged in devotional service with determination. His mind and intelligence fixed on me, such a devotee of mine is dear to me. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he would go to the temple of Lord Jagannath, would stand near the back of the temple at the Garuda Stamba, where the great servitor of the Lord, Garuda, is. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur did a similar thing. And oftentimes people would encourage, please, Maharaj, go close, you can see the deity. And he'd say, no, I'll stand here under Garuda, and when the Lord looks out, he'll look for his devotee Garuda, and I'll be there underneath. And this is a quintessential attitude that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught us. He taught to all his devotees. Don't be presumptuous. Don't try to see the Lord directly, but try to serve and amend one's activities so that they would be pleasing to the Lord. And even if one does this a little bit in one's own life, and for instance, if let's just say you're at home and you decide, using your natural free will, that you will do something to please Krishna. What could that be? Work with me now. What would it be? Cooking. Okay. Yes? Just give me something really simple. Yes? Give him the microphone. This sounds...
You can write letter or emails talking about Krishna's and his pastimes to your friends.
You could. That sounds pretty advanced, writing a letter about Krishna's pastimes. I'm thinking of a very inept person like myself who might be in a situation where I have a choice of perhaps waking up or not waking up. Or should I chant or not chant? Should I chant or what? Fill in the blank. TV. Is there TV still? I didn't know they still had it. Okay, so chant or, and then there's all kinds of other things that you can put in there. I mean, there's unlimited things. In fact, in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Bahu Shaka hi anantascha. That means that if you don't put your attention on the object that will actually satisfy your heart, and we already cleared that up in the very beginning of the class, and then there are millions of other things that you can think of that will drive you completely crazy. And then in the privacy of your own home, you may have a moment of clarity where you see the two choices in front of you, and then let's just say you decide to chant. Even if it takes all the strength in your whole jaw to say one mantra. Is that possible? Please say yes, make me feel better. It takes all the strength, every sinew in your body has to coordinate in order to make that happen. Instead of looking somewhere else, you say, Hare Krishna. Instead of doing the unlimited other things that your mind just suggested to you within a flash of a second. And if you do that, then you'll feel a victory of the soul. You'll actually feel that you've conquered a universe within that 1 second. And one can grow from that and taking Krishna's instructions. And why is that? Considering this principle that Krishna's observing my activities. And if I simply try to make myself fit for his vision, then he'll be happy and he'll appear in my life. Very simple instructions given in the Shastra. For instance, Padma Purana says, Atashri Krishna namadi na bhaved grayam indriye. I'm sorry? Okay. Atashri Krishna namadi na bhaved grayam indriye sevan mukhi jivado swayameva spuratyadaha. So this verse says something very simple. Start your whole yoga practice with the tongue. And just control the tongue, because that will please Krishna. And if you please Krishna by using your tongue for chanting or for honoring Krishna Prasadam, then he'll appear before you. So this is one of the principles. Act in such a way that Krishna will want to see you. Do service for others. Understand that he's observing. He's the witness within all of our hearts. So this makes every day an exhilarating opportunity to please Krishna by performing activities that are pleasing to him. Another lesson that Lord Chaitanya gives by his own example in his Leela is to follow. This is the easiest way to make advancement in any discipline, and that is to find out an expert. Find out the person who's mastered it, and then just go make friends with them and follow whatever they do. Because if you do that, then you'll very quickly imbibe the instructions that this person gives. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is an example. When he was a child, a mere child, he was the greatest scholar in the world. That was proven when the Digvijay Pandit, who had already conquered all the other scholars in the world, came to Navadvip. And he met this was an adolescent at the time, who had students. He was sitting on the bank of the Ganges. And when the Digvijay Pandit came to Navadvip, which, by the way, before he came, he had announced he was coming and asked that all the scholars there voluntarily sign a sheet saying they had been defeated. Many of them left town before he came because they had engagements in other places. So Nimai Pandit was waiting for him, and when he met the Digvijay Pandit, he engaged him in a very charming way. He invited him into the assembly that he had made there on the bank of the Ganges with his students, and there he asked him to recite some poetry, and the Digvijay Pandit recited like the blowing wind many Sanskrit verses. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, out of the 100 verses that the Pandit had composed on the spot and then spoken, then picked out one amidst all these verses, among all these verses, and recited it back to him. And the Pandit was astounded. He said, "How did you remember that? That seems impossible." And Nimai Pandit said, "Oh, some people are great grammatical scholars like you and poets, but I just happen to be Digvijay. I can remember things." And then he deconstructed the verse and told him all the mistakes, which mortified this Digvijay Pandit. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at that time did not discourage him. Although the Pandit was astounded that he had been defeated, and the students of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu began to laugh at seeing his plight, the great compassionate heart of Nimai Pandit, from his great compassionate heart, he said, "No, don't laugh. He's a great Pandit." And the next night, that night, the Pandit had a dream in which Saraswati, his deity, who he worshipped to get these powers, appeared to him and said, "You've met my master. That's why I have not been able to manifest on your tongue. I was before my master." And the next day, the Pandit came and surrendered to Nimai Pandit. Nimai Pandit was very accommodating. And this is one of the ways in which the Pandit, this Digvijay, could understand that this was the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Not only was his intellect fathomless, but he was also deeply compassionate. So in his youth, he was such a great scholar that he could defeat the Digvijay Pandit. And then when he went to Gaya and he met his spiritual master, Srila Ishvara Puri, he surrendered to him. And when he came back to Navadvip, he had become a very humble servant of his spiritual master. And he said that my spiritual master has called me a fool. This comes up when he meets Prakashananda Saraswati later. And they asked him, "Why don't you study Vedanta?" And he said, "My spiritual master called me Murka. I'm just a fool." And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then showed that this is the system for taking in transcendental knowledge, to find the bona fide representative coming from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and to then submit oneself and follow in the footsteps. The very early teachings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Sanatana Goswami are specifically about how one cannot make advancement in devotional service until and unless one takes the dust from the feet of pure devotees and smears them upon one's body. Naisam matistava rukramangrim sprishartyanarta bakamo yadartaha. Mahiyasam padarajopi shekam nishkinchananam navranita yavat. This verse says that one has to take the dust from great devotees and put it on their bodies. So this is called following in the footsteps of the great devotees. And if one makes oneself a sincere follower of the devotees, then one can make advancement very quickly. And the third principle, what's the first one I mentioned? Just in case I'm going too fast. Yes, somebody use a microphone and verify. What was the first lesson?
Associating with someone who is already following.
No, the first lesson I was talking about was act in such a way that God will want to see you. And what was the second? Use the microphone. You rule the airwaves back there because you have the microphone. Go ahead.
Make friends with an expert and follow his instruction and follow him.
Yeah, follow in the footsteps. Follow the great acharyas. Follow the scripture. In fact, Yasmin sarvani bhutani atmani van upashati. Anupashati, the Sri Upanishad says, see by following. And Shastra Chakshus, you have to follow. And by that, one can very quickly make advancement in devotional service. And then finally, by getting the recommendation of great devotees. This morning, Navigendra Swami said that, I wrote it down. He said, if you don't act with devotion, then there will be no emotion. There'll be only commotion and no promotion. This is a sound notion. So I really appreciated this point about promotion, because Prabhupada brings it up also. He says that actually, just like in a corporation, you can start in the mailroom. And if you're expert, you can work your way up and become the CEO of the company, right? So Prabhupada said that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's network is also like a corporation. And how do you actually move up in the corporation? How do you get a promotion? You get it by recommendation. And this is very evident in the Leela of King Prataparudra, who we heard about this morning because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was just expressing his feelings toward the king. Remember this morning? Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya has just presented this prospect of, why don't you meet the king? And what did Mahaprabhu say? King, that's an abomination. The word king is an abomination. I don't want to have anything. I don't want to see a king. For a sannyasi to see a king, this is horrible. So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, then just after Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, Ramananda Roy comes to Jagannath Puri. And he had just received permission from the king, Prataparudra, to take early retirement with a full pension. Why? Because he asked the king, did Ramananda Roy, I want to leave my post and go serve Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu full time. Would that be possible? And the king had already heard from Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya that Lord Chaitanya is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So what did the king say? Absolutely, immediately. You can retire right now. How does this sound to you all? You can retire right now with a full pension. Come on. Haribo. Yeah. That's the king said, go ahead. You can retire right now and a full pension. So when Ramananda Roy then came to see Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, just after Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya had suggested this, he said, oh, and by the way, the king is your great devotee. When he heard that I wanted to retire, he immediately gave me the compensation and said, please go and serve Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. What does that mean? Is there a meaning to this at this juncture? It was on? Sanction. It means sanction, confirmed. Okay. So now, listen, this is important. Pay attention. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heard Ramananda Roy say this, he said, and I can see that his heart started to change. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya could see it too, after Ramananda Roy recommended him. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's heart had changed. Shri Shri Rukmini Dwarkadish ki jai, Shri Shri Gaurnitai ki jai, Jagannath Baladev Subhadraji ki jai. His heart changed, and then he was able to actually see Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So how did it happen? Say the word, recommendation. He got a promotion by recommendation. So in order to advance in devotional service, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught this, you have to get recommendations by great devotees. Because when they recommend you, and this is very practical in everyday life, then the leader or whoever it is will recognize you very quickly by the recommendation. So work in such a way that Krishna will want to see you. Also, serve the great devotees in such a way that they will give you a recommendation to Krishna. And finally, when... Do I have a finally? Do you have 3 more minutes? When Maharaj Prataparuja heard that he wouldn't be able to see Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he said, then my life is not worth living. He said, I might as well give up my kingdom, and I don't even want to keep my life anymore. And there's several purports in this section where Prabhupada says that this is the qualification for coming to the highest level of Krishna consciousness. Krishna bhakti ras bhavito mati kriyatam yadi kritopi labdyate tata mulyam tata lolyam ekamulyam ekalam janmakoti sukritirna labdyate. Rupa Goswami confirms that you have to have this very intense greed and determination in order to get devotional service. So just in summation, somebody give the main points really quickly, concisely. Who's ready to do it? Okay, right in front, Preeti Sundarbha. Where's the mic?
Point 1 is don't try to see God, but try to serve so that God wants to see you.
Go ahead.
Point 2, find out an expert and just follow what they do. Point 3, get recommendation of great devotees in order to advance.
Okay. I just have one more thing to say. Nariya nagare nitai neche neche gaire. Nariya nagare nitai neche. Jagannath Sutta Mahaprabhu Vishwamba Mayapura Shashi Navadipa Sudaka Shachi Sutta Gauri Hari Nimai Sunda Radha Bhava Kanti Achadita Nataba Namananda Chapala Balaka Matri Bhakta Brahmananda Varna Tarki Katu Kanurak Nariya nagare nitai neche neche gaire. Louder. Vidyarthi udupa chara dwarer mohan Tartika sarvasya gramya balika kridan Lakshmi pratibodha data udata balaka Shisha chira pati putra shokani barakta Lakshmi pati purva desha sarva klesha hara Digvijay darpahari Vishnu priya swar Nariya nagare nitai neche neche gaire Nariya nagare nitai neche neche gaire Arya Dharma Pala Pitra Gaya Pinda Data Puri Shishya Madhvacharya Sampradaya Pata Krishna Namon Mata Krishna Tattva Vyapaka Nam Sankirtan Yuga Dharma Pravartaka Advaita Bandhava Srinivas Grihadhana Nityananda Prana Gadadhara Rajivan Narayana Gare Nitai Neche Neche Gaire Narayana Gare Nitai Neche Neche Gaire Antardeep Shashadar Simanta Vijay Godruma Bihari Madha Dipa Lila Shraya Kola Dwipa Pati Ritu Dwipa Maheshwara Janu Moja Druma Rudra Pera Ishvara Navakanda Ranganata Jana Vijivana Jagai Madai Adi Durvitataran Narayana Gare Nitai Neche Neche Gaire Narayana Gare Nitai Neche Neche Gaire Nagara Kirtana Singha Kaji Udarana Shuddha Nama Pracharaka Bhakta Tiharana Narayani Kripa Sindhu Jiverani Anta Adhama Paduya Dandiba Hanta Shri Krishna Chaitanya Chandra Paratitarana Parivraj Shiramoni Ukala Pavan Narayana Gare Nitai Neche Neche Gaire Narayana Gare Nitai Neche Neche Gaire Ambulinga Bhuvanesha Kopatesha Pati Kirchor Gopardashana Sukiyati Nirdandi Sanyasi Sarva Bhoma Kripa Moya Swananda Aswanandi Sarva Sukashoya Purata Sundara Vasudeva Chanakarta Ramananda Sakabata Kula Kleshahar Narayana Gare Nitai Neche Neche Gaire Narayana Gare Nitai Neche Neche Gaire Bodha Jain Mayavadi Kutarka Kandana Dakshina Pavana Bhakti Granta Udarana Alala Darshanandi Rata Granartaka Gajapati Trana Devananda Udaraka Kuliya Prakashe Dushta Pradurera Chana Rupa Sanatana Ban Sarva Jiva Pan Narayana Gare Nitai Neche Neche Gaire 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 Jaya Gaura Nitai Gaura Nitai Gaura Nitai Jaya Gaura Nitai Nitai Gaura Haribo 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Avantika harmonium for the kartal players, for the madanga player in the front row, for the Hare Krishna singers, for the Hare Krishna dancer in the back. Go Premanande! Nitai Goda Haribo, 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 Nitai Goda Haribo. Thank you very much. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Premanande Haribo. Vanchakalpatarubhascha kripasinabheva cha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.